Hey, y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show. This is episode number 132. My name is Jason, owner of Outdoor Legacy. We specialize in all things night vision and thermal imaging. I've got, as always, my co-host, my good buddy, Mr. Hans East Texas from the Hans East Texas YouTube channel and Instagram. What is going on tonight, Mr. Hans?
Good evening. How's it going, Jason? Good to be back again. We're doing episode 132 is going to be a good one. We've got another scope review, getting back into the reviews, deep dive into it. And we've got you and I were talking about all the ones we still need to do, but this is one that's been requested again. If you are a night vision hunter or a night vision fan, you're listening to the right episode. If you are a thermal hunter and you are looking for a night vision scope, you can definitely take a listen to this, and I think you'll get a lot of good information. But as you know, Jason, we had an important election last week. Nobody probably knows about it. They probably don't know what's going on, so we'll fill you in. We'll fill you in a little bit. But
I don't want to talk about it. Can I step aside while you talk about this for a minute?
It's for your
I'll
bathroom.
come back.
Go ahead and do your bathroom break right now. We'll be back to it in a minute. No,
Yeah.
it's we're not going to spend a lot of time on it because I think we're still a little bit butthurt over it, but that's okay.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But we'll see how it all plays out. Let's keep our fingers crossed for if you are if you're listening to this show, you probably are a gun owner and a supporter of the Second Amendment. A lot of us in the hunting community stay real focused on those type of issues. So we will definitely keep an eye on things. As you know, we talked about the ATF and some of the things that they're doing as far as regulating braces, or they're getting more aggressive on it. We talked about it. So if it's a political topic that pertains to the Second Amendment, what's that?
I said, kiss your brace goodbye.
Kiss your brace. And a lot of people are saying that if they see pictures, they're like, enjoy it while you've got it. Yeah, you're exactly right. So, but if something political comes up about gun rights or Second Amendment, I'm sure we'll be touching on it. And with what's going on with the election, I'm sure we will have a lot of political talk about gun rights here in the many months and years to come. I wish we didn't, but unfortunately we probably are. But in other topic and good news, you know, we've started deer season down here in Texas, which officially opened. Well, kids season opened 2 weekends ago. Regular rifle season opened last weekend for all you grown-ups and all the prima donna deer hunters out there that soak up all the hog hunters' lands. And I'm a little bitter because we always lose a few spots to deer hunters, but that's okay. It's only for a couple months. But my daughter came to me. Your daughter has she's actually shot 2 does now. She is way ahead of the game. And my daughter came to me last weekend, and she said that she wanted to shoot a doe this year. And she's 12 years old. This is the first year that she's said anything about it. She's taken an outdoor class in school and learning how to do a bunch of stuff pertaining to hunting and fishing, and she's shown a real interest in it. So I took her out shooting the other day, going to let her shoot her first deer with the Sightmark Wraith HD, which I know that your daughter Dixie Lee shot her first deer with the 4K, the Sightmark 4K.
No, she shot her first deer last year with the HD. So no, this year she shot 2 with the 4K.
With the 4K. My daughter's going to shoot one with the Wraith HD this year, and she's a natural, man. She did great shooting with that 300 blackout, using some discrete ballistics, 300 blackout subsonic ammo, and man, I'm excited about it. I'm excited that she's excited about it. So I have jumped into the deer hunter pool, and the water is warm and toasty. So
well, I saw her target when she got done shooting, and I was thoroughly impressed. And I knew that wasn't Hans shooting, because it was way better than Hans's groupings at 50 yards. I was thoroughly impressed.
I will say, I sighted it in got it sighted in 3 shots. You know, we put up a little piece of tinfoil on a piece of cardboard that's about 1.5 inches wide, 1.5 inches tall. And my third shot, I hit it on the tinfoil, and I said, that's good enough. And I didn't mess with it anymore. I handed her the rifle. She took 2 shots, Jason, and both of those shots were closer to the middle of that piece of tinfoil than I got it. And I said, well, I think you're good, baby girl. I don't think you need to shoot anymore. Not to mention that she was shooting ammo that was not very cheap. So I was ready to end that shooting session. We weren't just out there plinking, I can tell you that. But no, we're ready to go. Hopefully this weekend we've got a bunch of does at our place and setting up about a 45-yard shot. So we'll see if it all comes together and she gets to get her first deer. And I'm anxious to see if she's actually going to be able to do it, pull the trigger. You know, she's never hunted before. I mean, she's shot before, but she's never hunted. It's different when you are shooting a piece of cardboard and then you bear down on a rifle scope on an animal and you've got an animal in the scope. So we'll see if she's able to actually pull the trigger, but she says she's ready. So we'll see.
Well, she looked ready to me. I saw the pictures and I saw the target, so I'm impressed. I think she's ready to roll.
So we'll say stay tuned for that. Maybe we'll get some success stories, but we will see. So this week, episode 132, we are doing a full review of the Pulsar Digisight Ultra N450 LRF. Now, we've talked about the Digisights in the past, but this is the first one we've talked about, Jason, that has the integrated laser rangefinder unit. So there's been a lot of buzz, a lot of people calling the idea of having that integrated laser rangefinder in the night vision scope has got a lot of people attracted to it.
Absolutely. So I'm going to talk about the specs here real quick. I do have this unit. I'm holding it up here. It is a fairly large unit. So
that's
it's
a very
really
kind way to put it.
It's a kind way of putting it. Fairly large. It's hard for me to get this whole thing in the frame without backing way up. It is. But I do know that there's a lot of guys that prefer this. What I don't mean this in a negative way. I just say this square, blocky brick style design that, the Pulsar Trail thermal scopes had.
Absolutely. People love that trail, that trail design. And there's a lot of people that call up for thermal scopes that are not happy that they switch from the trail design to the Thermion design. There's quite a few people.
Yeah, and it has zero to do with performance and everything to do with looks. I mean, I had a guy tell me the other day, he said, if I'm buying a $5,000 scope, I want everybody who sees it to know it's a $5,000 scope. I don't want it to look like just a normal daytime scope over there. And I'm thinking that's about 99% of why people don't like it, because it just blends in the Thermion design. So anyway, a lot of vanity. Yeah. But so this is the Digisights have had this style for a long time, several years. And so this is just an extension of that, but it, is the laser rangefinder model. So let's talk about it real quick. I'm going to run down the specs. This won't take but a second. This is officially the Digisight Ultra N450 LRF laser rangefinder model. It is $1,499.97. It is a 4.5 power base magnification. It does go up to an 18x digital zoom. It's got a digital imaging sensor with a resolution of 1280 by 720. It has an AMOLED display. It goes from the resolution is 1024 by 768. It has an 850 nanometer IR illuminator that is removable from the unit. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. It uses an IPS 7 battery pack or an IPS 14, which is the enlarged, longer lasting battery. It also comes standard with an IPS 7A battery pack. That is something that we'll talk about what this A battery pack means in just a little bit. It's got 10 different reticle options. It is rated for down to negative 13 degrees. It's rated for up to and including a 375 H&H rifle or a 12 gauge shotgun. It weighs 34.2 ounces and it is IPS 6.7 rated, which means it's 100% dust proof and it is fully submersible to 3 foot for 30 minutes. So that is the rundown. Again, It's $1,499 for this all-in-one unit. If I want to just be clear, if you buy this unit right out of the box, you do have an IR illuminator and you do have the permanently attached laser rangefinder. That's one thing that a lot of people they don't really understand. This is permanently attached. You cannot take off the laser rangefinder, but the IR illuminator is removable.
Right.
So that is that.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of people, the first thing they ask is, what's the ID range? And we'll talk about a couple different things, because the popularity of these improved IR lights that companies like Sniper Hog Lights is the one that we use and prefer and sell at Outdoor Legacy. The popularity of those and people running these improved IR lights on their rifles and mounting them in different spots. So we'll talk about the performance with those lights and the lights that we prefer. But right now we'll talk about the performance with the standard IR light that comes on it. Right now, after using this optic, and Jason and I have been out testing it, what we feel is a very conservative, comfortable ID range or usage range with the current IR light that's on it. We're going to say anywhere from 200 250 yards is what you're going to be able to see. Now, this scope, it will see much further than that, but really when it comes to night vision and night vision optics, you're really limited to the power of your IR light. And that's why you see the popularity of these Sniper Hog lights and these Coyote cannons that are huge. You know, it's kind of been a reversal of the industry. It used to be, everybody was trying to get the smallest IR light possible, but now you see them and they're getting big, and that's the popularity, is these big IR lights. But yeah, I'm going to say 200 to 250 yards with the IR light that's on it. Now, for a lot of you out there that are hunting at night, 200 or 250 yards is probably all that you need. I would say the vast majority of the people that call and that I speak with over the phone that are interested in any type of night vision or thermal scope, the vast majority of them are taking average shots of anywhere from 100 to 150 yards. A lot of times it's less than that if you're, a southern hog hunter. But even your coyote hunters up north, they may be at times taking longer shots, but their average shot's probably going to be somewhere between that 100 and 150 yards. So that's all you need if you are out hunting hogs down here in the southeast. Something like that with the IR light that comes on, it's probably just fine for you. Now, you have anything to add with that, with the standard IR? You agree or disagree?
No, I agree.
Okay.
I mean, it is a fairly bright IR for the size of it. I mean, it's really not a bad IR. We've come a long ways from what these included IRs would do 3 or 4 years ago. It's a very nice IR. So no, I don't have anything.
Yeah,
and
I know we hadn't got to the likes on it yet, but I do like the fact that the IR light is integrated into the scope.
Yeah, and I should also say that it does have multiple brightness settings on the back of the IR. So you can turn the IR off, and then you have, multiple settings. So it's not just off and on.
How many multiple settings does it have?
I don't want to get into this.
Okay.
Because,
if any of you remember before,
like
Jason counts off as one of the brightness settings.
Yeah, so. it's high, medium, low, and off. That's 4. That's 4 settings.
There's 4 brightness settings.
True.
And off is included.
It's true. Off is included.
So I want to talk a little bit about the Sniper Hog lights and the IR lights that we recommend for all of you out there that want to see an ID and look further than a couple hundred yards. And the Sniper Hog lights, but in the past we've really liked the 66 LRX, 66 millimeter head on it. I mean, you can see out to close to 800 yards with it. It's a beast. Now you can see a long ways, but it's also it's 66 millimeters is not small. So you've got to find a place to mount that either on the scope. On some scopes they have mounting brackets, but a lot of times people are mounting it on the rail, underneath the rail, underneath their barrel, for better performance. But Jason and I we like smaller. That's the thing, because we carry our rifles a lot. A lot of y'all out there carry your rifles, and we're lazy. I don't know. Is that it?
I think
What is-
so.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
I
not
just
that-
don't want something huge hanging off my rifle. And again, just if I was setting up and I was doing tons of calling, you know, which we do a lot of calling, but if it's all I was doing, I was getting out of the truck and I was walking several hundred yards, setting up and just standing there, you know, for 30 minutes calling and going back to the truck, I wouldn't mind a big light. But as much walking as we do, I want small, lightweight. I just don't want an albatross hanging off my rifle if I can help it.
You're being nice because I was going to say, yes, we're lazy. Because
Okay. Well, we're
I tell
lazy.
you, you carry a rifle for a couple hours, and gosh, it gives you even more respect for the people in the military. But you carry one of our rifles for a couple hours, a few ounces feels like a few pounds. And so any way to save weight, we definitely do it. So we've been using the 50 LRX now, and the good folks over at Sniper Hog Lights, they have come up with an improved IR module that you can put in that 50 LRX that gives you almost the same performance as the 66 LRX. So Sniper Hog Lights is saying that you can get about 600 yards of visibility with the 50 LRX. And man, if you can see 600 yards with that smaller head on that Sniper Hog Light IR and be able to mount it easier and carry it easier, to me that's a win-win because 600 yards and this scope will see just about as far as you can get a light out to it. It can definitely see 600 yards. It's a 4.5 power, so I mean you'll be able to see a long ways out there. And I think that the Digisight Ultra N450 LRF paired with either the 50 LRX, which is you and I's favorite now, or the 66, is a great combination that you'll be able to see. Depending on the weather, if it's foggy or what. I mean, there's going to be some difficulties, but anywhere from 400 to 600 with the 50 LRX, and anywhere from I'd say 600 to 800 with the regular 66 LRX. So
I think that's reasonable and conservative. And if you say, man, that's still not enough, I really just want to see as far as I can. Size and weight doesn't matter. That's where the Coyote Cannon comes in. And that thing is super
and that'll
bright.
see the dark side of the moon.
It'll see the dark side of the moon. But the one thing I do want to mention is you mentioned this new brighter LED, this 850 LED that is in the 50. It's also in the 66 LRX, and it's already in there. If you buy your light, the whole kit from Outdoor Legacy, any of these, 50 or 66 LRX, you're getting the new improved light. That LED is already in there. I got a lot of people that email or send messages, call and say, hey, I want to buy this. I know you said there's a new LED. How do I get that? It's in every single light that we sell now. Yeah. So if you buy from us, you're going to know that you're getting that in there with it. So
real quick,
go ahead.
Before we move on, if you're new to night vision or you're interested or you've been seeing some stuff, real quick, Jason, why don't you briefly, and I know that's a difficult thing, but briefly explain 850 and 940 for folks that don't understand, because we get a lot of questions about what's the difference.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do this as briefly as possible.
Briefly.
So I'm going to say this, all right, so that everybody knows too, because I was thinking about this while you were talking. I didn't really want to get into it, but you brought it up. So no. This is the N450. Yeah. And I had this conversation twice today with guys. You'll see these scopes will come also in like an N455, and the same thing with like the Digex. They'll be that's the one that looks like the traditional rifle scope. They'll have the N450 and the N455. People go, what's the difference? The N450s have the 850 nanometer IR illuminator. The N455s have the 940 IR illuminator. This is it in a nutshell, and there's some lot of confusion and some bad terminology here. A 940 nanometer, that's the spectrum of infrared light that it uses, and those are called invisible IRs. Well, what does that mean? That means that an 850 is visible, right?
Right.
No, that's the problem. That's where visible or invisible is a terrible word to use.
Right.
When you turn this light on and you look into it, you will see a very soft red glow. It is not a glow that projects out. So if you turn it sideways, you don't see it. There's nothing projecting out. You look straight into it, it's a soft red glow where that LED is turned on.
Right.
That glow is visible to any, an animal or a person or anything that can see red. They can look out there and they can see that red light barely glowing in the little small head of any of these lights, not just this light, any light. And the 940 is called invisible. It's not invisible. It just glows less. Mm-hmm. So you go, okay, well, that's great. That's what I want because it glows less. That's true. But the brightness and the output, the distance that you can see, is cut way down. So it's this trade-off. You go, well, I don't want anything to see it. So I want to, I want to use this 940. Well, that's fine. You just can't see as far now.
Yeah.
And it's still visible. Okay. You can still turn it on. You can still look into it and see it. I can still see it. I put them side by side on all these scopes. You can still see it. So then I'm going to tell you what most guys do. They buy a 940 and they go put it, on their scope, like the N450, and they go, this is what I want. I don't want animals to see it, blah, blah. They get home, they use it, and they go, man, I can't see anything. So what do? They go buy an 850 IR illuminator, and they're right back where they started. Right. So I know there are people who make credible claims that their coyotes or hogs or whatever the animals are can see this light coming out of 850s, and they have trouble with it. That is a very, very small minority. I will say this. Every single Sight Mark Wraith sold on the market, period, and it's tens of thousands, they have a 850 illuminator. Yeah. Every single ATNX sight that's been sold since they were released, 850 illuminator. Almost every single Photon, 850. The vast majority of the Pulsars in the U.S., 850. So my point in all that is there are hundreds of thousands of guys all over using these scopes with 850s with no issue. I'm not saying you can't be the guy with the issue, but it is something that's not on my radar of things to worry about. And
I'm glad you explained that, because we get a lot of people, and there is some confusion, and they call up and say, I want the one that's invisible. But they don't understand completely what they're getting and what they're giving up. So you're exactly right. We sell the 850 nanometer, the one that you can see further with. I have not experienced any problems in spooking in hogs or coyotes with it. There are people out there that may say that they have, and they might very well be right, but the vast majority of people out there right now are using ones that are the 850 nanometer, just like the one we're talking about today, the N450. So as far as functionality, Jason, I know you got the scope right there in front of you with all the fancy buttons.
I just want to go over I'm going to go over a couple things. So this unit, to be clear, is black and white at night and during the daytime. This is not a full color daytime unit like some of the Sight Mark Wraith and some of these units that we review. This is a black and white only. Very, very good image quality. One thing I do like about this unit is that the imaging sensor in here is extremely sensitive. It does its very best to pull in any ambient light it can and will brighten it up. I mean, I was out tonight with this thing. I'm looking across my pasture 500 yards, and I can see out there about 40, 50 yards faintly. I've got some cows down there at 100 yards. I could not see them. Turned the scope on, no IR on, and I could absolutely see those cows plain as day, was able to range find them. I mean, I was looking all over down there. It was with no IR. I mean, it was just pulling in that light. So that's one nice thing about it. What you will see when you look at the lens cap, I don't know if you can see this on the video, there is a small hole there with a little lens in it. That's for daytime use. Now, It does not hurt this unit to open it up and use it during the day, but because it's always trying to brighten the image and pull in the light, a lot of times it'll white out. It's just too much light coming in. So you can close this lens cap and it will see through that little pinhole, and most of the light is blocked from coming in. Right here, you can see this is the laser rangefinder, again, permanently attached, cannot be removed. You've got your multiple buttons up here on the top of the unit. That's where you do all your menu settings and you turn your LRF off and on and do all that function. This right here is your focus, so you can focus your objective lens. Moving back, this is you'll notice this long extended eyepiece. This is something that's popular in Europe because they mostly shoot on bolt action rifles, and it's hard to get the proper eye relief. So this is an extended eyepiece, and it will work just fine on an AR-15 because you can move it forward. But if you are on a bolt gun, you do have this ability of getting this way back towards the buttstock, which is much better for bolt action shooters. You also have your diopter focus. This just focuses the screen to your eye. So when you're looking at the display screen, you can get that focused in sharp. Also right there is a USB port where you can charge the unit. You can plug it in, pull off your videos. That is one thing I didn't even mention the specs, is it does have video recording and a smartphone app. All that is included in here. So you can reach right in here with a cord and pull off your videos connected to a computer. This side, I've already removed the battery. I'm going to show you that here in just a second. And there's your power button off and on. So again, this is a removable battery. Now, I want to show you this battery because this is important. This is an IPS 7A. This is the battery that comes with it. This battery is currently not available to us in the U.S. I know that it will be soon at some point, but right now it's not here because this is a brand new unit for 2020 this fall. And what you'll notice if you're looking at it is that it's got this round port on it. And what that is, it's basically a female port, and that is where this IR illuminator locks on. And I'm trying to do all this while I'm talking, and I'm not going to be able to get to lock on, but live demonstration here. Yeah. It locks on here, okay? That's how this IR gets powered. Now, you can pull this off, and there's a little cap and cover for it, so there's nothing to worry about if you don't use this. If you're using another IR light, you will not use this. You can take this off, free yourself up the weight, no extra use on the battery. By the way, the estimated runtime on this thing is 6 to 7 hours. So the total, the scope, the IR, and everything. I'm obviously the more things you're doing, if you're recording video, using the Stream Vision app, IR on bright, all those things, you can definitely bring that battery life down. Now, so what I want to make the point is, if you're going to run the IR, you're going to have these batteries. Again, it's plenty of battery for most guys to go out on a night of hunting. But if you want spare batteries as of right now, again, no people are going to be listening to this a year from now, and I'm sure we'll have these batteries available. But as for now, you'll buy the regular Pulsar IPS 7 and 14 batteries. They'll lock in right here, rechargeable and removable, but you won't be able to run the IR. This is the only way to run this built-in IR. The other thing I would mention is that this unit does not have any kind of a Picatinny rail, an accessory rail anywhere on it. So if you do want to run an aftermarket IR like one of these Sniper Hog lights, you're going to need to have a way to connect that to your rifle. You're going to need a Picatinny rail or something on your rifle somewhere else to do that, because this unit doesn't have it. So this was just something new, and I wanted everybody to see this so they knew what was going on here, that this was just made to connect that IR on there. But overall, very, very similar to any of the other Pulsar Digisights, if you've ever seen them. Biggest difference is just has this laser rangefinder on the side. I want to make a quick note about the rangefinder, and then I'll be done. A lot of people ask, how do they work? Do they work well? They work. They're absolutely 100% legitimate. Their accuracy is down to 1 meter, plus or minus. And I'm telling you, they're on. I mean, they are. I've got, some targets out in my pastures at different yardages. I know where some, trees and certain things. I've ranged them so much during the daytime. I can hit it with this thing, and it is dead on to the yard. So I think the accuracy is perfect. When you turn on the laser rangefinder, you push the button, and the little square box comes up. It's really just like a daytime normal pocket laser rangefinder will work. Your crosshairs disappear, and you can range the animal. The ranging box disappears, and the crosshairs come back.
Yeah.
If you would like to do both at the same time, you'll need to enable picture-in-picture. That's a little postage stamp size image up at the top of the screen that is zoomed in. And when you do that, you will have your crosshairs there, and you can do the ranging at the same time. But honestly, that's something a lot of people worry about, but rarely are you going to need to be getting a live range and shooting at the exact same minute. I mean, most of the time you just want to know, okay, is that, coyote 225 yards? Okay, I can shoot him. I know where to aim him. If he's running towards you, then you're probably going to wait. And once he gets under 200, it doesn't matter anyway. So anyway, but the ranging is very easy to use. Overall, great function. And anyway, I really like the scope.
That's pretty insane accuracy down to 1 meter. That's
I know.
That's
crazy.
It's
good.
But so if you've seen all this, you've seen the specs, you've seen the functionality of the ID range, and you're wondering, is this night vision scope good for me? And so that I think, is important for you to really speak with somebody like Jason or I. And we hope that if you are in the market for this, that you will consider us, and you can give us a call at 877-350-1818. You can find this optic and all other thermal and night vision scopes, just about all of them, over at outdoorlegacygear.com. But when people call me and the first thing they say, I'm looking at this unit that has a laser rangefinder, do you think I need it? Well, first of all, we want to find out your average shot. If you're regularly taking shots at targets 100 to 200 yards, you probably don't need a laser rangefinder, only because the bullet drop distance, the bullet drop between 100 yards and 200 yards in most calibers is not going to be significant enough that you're going to need a laser rangefinder unless you're shooting, something like a 300 blackout subsonic or something like that. But if you're shooting a regular caliber that a lot of people coyote hunt and hog hunt with, there's just not going to be enough drop that you're going to need to see the exact range or yardages. There might be some people argue that, but that's my experience, and that's a lot of people else would say. But if I think who it is good for, somebody that is regularly taking shots at over 150 yards, they're coyote hunters, they're hog hunters that are taking long shots. If you're shooting out of a deer stand and you're hog hunting out of it, and you're set up for long shots, if you are trying to figure out distances to make you a better, more efficient shooter, I think it's something that'd be good for you. Sometimes having people having the ability to get the exact yardage of a target helps their confidence. And it doesn't matter if they're only taking 100-yard shots or 200-yard shots or further, but sometimes it gives people peace of mind, and it makes them more confident shooters, and they perform better. But this is a 4.5 power unit, and it's very high magnification, base magnification for a night vision optic. There's other similar ones out there, but this 4.5 powers pretty high.
That's a lot.
If you're taking shots at 50 yards, 100 yards, it's probably going to be a little bit too much magnification for you. But yeah, like I would say, if you're taking regular over 150, it's something you definitely take a look at.
I agree. I wanted to mention one spec here that I'd kind of saved just for this conversation. The horizontal field of view at 100 yards is 32.7 foot. So you're basically looking at about 33 foot at 100 yards. That's pretty narrow. I mean, there's a lot narrower scopes, but there's a lot wider. So you're definitely, I mean, let's break that down. That's at 100 yards. We're going to just round up and call that 33 feet. So
a little over
then
10 yards.
You bring, yeah, exactly. And then you bring that down to 50 yards and you cut that in half. So you're going to be looking at 16 and a half foot. Okay. That's left to right, horizontal. You bring that down to 25 yards and you're looking, 8 feet. So you take a big hog standing there that's 4 foot long. It's taking up 50% of your screen, from tail to nose. So, it's made for shooting a little bit longer distances. And I agree with everything Hans said is, if you don't need the laser rangefinder, then I wouldn't buy this unit. That's my opinion. I would buy the DigX. It's less money. You're going to get a smaller, lighter weight package, less bulk. And what's the need? I mean, if you don't need the laser rangefinder, just why do it? And I totally agree too. If you're shooting mostly under 200 yards, I mean, most calibers, you just don't need it. I say the same thing to guys about laser rangefinders with thermals. You need to be really shooting out there at longer ranges, or now there's a couple of things we haven't mentioned. One, the guy who's hunting in big, wide open country. Maybe he's in North Dakota and it's a sea of grass as far as he can see, a big wheat field or something in Nebraska, some kind of farmland. I get that. Sometimes you're looking out there with no trees, no fences, and you just don't know how far things are. That's when the laser rangefinder is helpful. And it's also helpful for guys who are going out and hunting new properties all the time, big fields, and you just don't know how far anything is. So you've never even been there in the daylight, and you get out there and you're looking out across this big pasture, and you really don't know if that wood line is 300 yards or 550 yards. So you have a hard time judging. So it's good for that. I would just say that as much as I do like the laser rangefinder, I think they're a great tool. I don't think that the vast majority of people need them. I think it's something that, and your situation better than we do. So that's a situation that, you can decide. And so when people come to me and they say, all right, Digisight, Ultra N450 LRF or DigX, which one? And my immediate question is, do you need or want a laser rangefinder? And if your answer is, yeah, I want one, well, I got the scope for you. And if it's, I don't want one or I don't need one, I don't have a use for it, then don't buy the scope, period. So I'm just being honest with you. I think that really comes down to the laser rangefinder, and you're paying a few $100s extra to get it. So if you don't need it, don't get it. If you do, don't not get it.
Yeah,
you better buy it.
You're right. And if you don't know if you need it or not, call somebody. Call us, call somebody that's used this and that knows. Yeah, and determine, hey, yeah, this is something that I could use, or it's something that I'm going to buy and not use at all. So there's a lot for a lot of people out there that are new to night vision hunting. There's a lot of questions. This is one of them. This is a very big one as far as laser rangefinder, but just call and talk to the people that know.
Exactly. All right. I want to jump into the likes and the dislikes here.
My favorite part of the scope reviews, because I like hearing your dislikes, because your likes ours are pretty similar, but you are the man. You deep dive into this stuff and you nitpick sometimes on these dislikes, but you have to.
I do.
You have to.
I do, but that's what people want. They want to know truthfully what we don't like. And I'm going to truthfully tell you what I don't like about this unit. I don't like this IPS 7A battery pack. I don't like the fact that it's a different battery pack to run this IR. I think it's kind of ridiculous. I think this IR could have been moved to right up here. I'm trying to hold this up. It could have been moved to right up there and still run off of this battery. There's some way to do it without putting that connector on here. This is the first unit they've ever done that had this. I know it's because they got the LRF on this side, so it took up a lot of room. I don't like it. I think it's a bad choice. That's my opinion.
A lot nicer language you were using now than what you were using in our pre-call show.
Yeah, well, no, I don't like that. I think it's a bad idea. Would it stop me from buying it? Not if I needed the laser rangefinder.
Exactly.
But I would also say this for myself, and I know this. Hans and I would probably not use that IR anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So we would use a sniper hog light. And so I'm going to get a better, more adjustable, brighter, way more control over that light. Even if I don't need the brightness of sniper hog light, I'm going to be able to adjust my field of view better. Yeah. I can dim it all the way down, all the way up. So for me, to be honest, I'm not going to use that light. So it won't matter. I'll be able to put the cap over that female port there. And I'll be able to switch that out with any of my other IPS 7, even the older IPS 5 battery packs that the older scopes use. They're still compatible here. So I don't like that. I'm not a fan of this long eyepiece. I know why they did it. Again, for bolt action shooters, especially Europeans, it's very popular with them. I just think that it makes the scope longer. It does not hurt one thing. And I know what guys are going to say. They're going to say, well, wait a minute. It's just about the same length as a Thermion or a Digex, and you like those. It's true. But on this design, I just think it would have been just as easy to bring this short eyepiece back down. So I'm just not a big fan of it, to be honest.
You're just saying it just looks funny. It just looks funny.
It just looks funny. It doesn't, when you're using it, you don't know any difference where your eye is at. Yeah. It doesn't. I was using it tonight. I mean, I didn't have any trouble. I've been, used it several times, and when you're looking through it, you just don't notice it. So
yeah, so what you're saying is the functionality, it looks great when you're looking through the eyepiece, but just looking at the unit as a whole, it looks funny, but the picture doesn't look funny at all, and the eye relief is perfect.
No. The eye relief is perfect. If you're a bolt action shooter, this is what you want. I mean, this or the can't say it, Digex, is what you want. So that's what I don't like. I mean, again, I'm just being honest. I'm trying to nitpick it. Otherwise, it's just like any of the Pulsar Trails or the other Pulsar Digisights. So I do like it. This is this new magnesium housing here in the middle. It is some sort of a composite plastic on the back and the front, but all this in the middle is, again, this magnesium. It's got some bulk to it. You feel it when you touch it, and you know it's metal. It's really nice. This overall design, look, feel, you can tell this is a very, very nice, well-designed European optic. It's exactly what you expect from Pulsar. If you've ever touched, felt, used a Pulsar, it's what you expect. It's a very, very good optic. The menu system is simple to use, easy. The LRF, I'm telling you, I had a guy today tell me that he picked up an LRF, a trail LRF that he had, and it functions exact same way as this. He said he picked it up in a store. He had never held one before. He said he pushed a couple buttons, and immediately he figured out exactly how to use the laser rangefinder and which button. He's like, it just seemed pretty natural. I pushed the button, and when it came up, I went, oh, okay. Pushed it again, and it ranged. Went, oh, that was easy. Displayed the distance right there on the screen. So it is overall easy to use. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, I'll recap real quick. Just mine, my likes are similar to yours, but very good picture image. Laser rangefinder is dead on, accurate, dependable. You have no question at all. I love I like the trail housing. It looks similar to a trail, although with that longer eyepiece, it does look a little bit funny. The dislikes, if you are looking for a night vision optic that also can perform as a daytime scope, this is not it. There are a lot of other good options out there, and we've talked about several of them in other brands. But if you want something that you can hunt with during the day and at night, this can do it, but you might have a better experience with a night vision optic that has full color HD picture or 4K picture during the day. So keep that in mind when you're shopping around and you're looking to say, hey, I'm putting this on one rifle. It's my nighttime rifle. It'll never come out into the day, but I want the best picture image I can possibly get with a laser rangefinder. Then the Digisight Ultra N450 LRF is that's the one for you. if you say, hey, I'm putting it on one rifle and I want to be able to use it during the day and at night, call us. There's a lot of other options. We can talk through it, or we can talk through your decision on buying the N450. But thank you for checking out the show today. We've got a lot of reviews lined up. We've got some fun things coming up too. Jason and I were talking about it today. Pretty sure our wives have been bugging us about it, but pretty sure we were going to be redoing again for the third year of the wives show. Third year, and Jason is already a nervous wreck. I'm going to have to talk him off the ledge because you never know what our wives are going to say whenever they come back on the show. But it seems that we do it every November, and we are going to do it again this year. So, and I know our wives are going to try to embarrass the heck out of us, but oh well, it's for the show and it's entertainment. But that's an off week for us. It's a holiday week. We like to keep it lighthearted and fun, and we're going to have them back on. We will continue with our reviews, and also we will be doing some stuff. I know that SHOT Show is not going to happen this year in its formal version, but I know Jason's over there like, oh my gosh, what's he promising right now?
I know what is he telling everybody?
What's he writing a check for that his backside can't cash? But if I say it happens because I'm executive producer of the show. But we will be doing something special surrounding the end of the year. We've done in the past. We've done the best of categories for our thermal scopes, night vision scopes. I do envision us doing that again. Maybe some information related to new products as what might usually have come out on the SHOT Show. So stay tuned for all of that. Thank you all for watching. If you are wanting to find all the past episodes of the Late Night Vision Show, you can do so on the latenightvision.show.com. You can find us on YouTube, on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, all the podcast-only versions, apps. You can find us, the Late Night Vision Show. Please give us a review. Please follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. Subscribe to us there. And you can find my buddy Jason over at, you can find him on YouTube also at Outdoor Legacy Gear on Instagram and Facebook. And you can find me on YouTube. I just got done with my 2-month review of the Pulsar Thermion XG50, and I've got a bunch of hog and coyote dropping videos that are about to go live here any day now, along with the review of the Hogster 25mm and 35mm. That's on the Hans East Texas YouTube channel. That's HANSETX, and you can find me on Instagram. Jason, take it away.
Whew, man, I am wore out from just listening to all that.
I know, and I was on the tractor for 5 hours yesterday, and my sinuses are going crazy. Can't hardly talk. I'm just fighting through it. But
I know he was coughing and hacking around here, so he pulled through the show like the true professional that he is. But folks, if you don't know where to find us after all that, then you're not looking very hard, because Hans gave you all the places. So we appreciate you coming and listening. We hope to see you again next week. We'll be back again next Thursday, as we are every week. And between now and then, y'all stay safe in the fields and keep making those bacon pancakes.